John Lennon was still working on composing the song's melody a month before he was shot and killed. Two John Lennon compositions, however, that were meant to be included on the recording were abandoned on the studio floor because of a terrible murder. With plans already underway for his second album, Milk and Honey, Lennon discreetly filed it away for later. Sadly, his tragic death prevented the LP from being finished as he had intended. However, after Milk and Honey was released in 1984, the songs Let Me Count the Ways and Grow Old With Me were included. Inspired by the poetry of Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert Browning, respectively, Lennon and Yoko Ono wrote both songs in Bermuda during the summer of 1980. For John, Grow Old With Me was the one that would become a standard, the kind they would play in church every time a couple got married. Yoko later stated while talking about the piece, "It was the era of symphonies and trumpets." He went on, "But we had a Christmas album release date to meet, so we kept putting off the song Grow Old With Me until the end. In the end, we felt it would be best to save the song for Milk and Honey and not do it." An urgent task, John composed the song Grow Old With Me on a few cassettes while we were talking about the arrangement. Even though it's not as good as he would have liked, the rendition of Grow Old With Me that can be found on Milk and Honey is his last recording. With just a keyboard and a rhythm box, Ono and she wrote the tune in their shared bedroom.
He said to me out of the blue, I bumped into him, said, "Did you ever hear that cassette?"
Ringo Starr recorded a version of Grow Old With Me in 2019 as an homage to John Lennon with bassist Paul McCartney. The former Beatles said on France Inter Radio that he chose to cover the song because it was very emotional, yes. It still has emotion to it in a unique way. When I met John Douglas, the producer of his most recent album, he asked me out of the blue, "Have you heard that tape?" since the demo was recorded. Then Ringo described how Lennon said, "This would be great for Richard Starkey," on the Bermuda tapes. "I would like to record it," he continued. "John wrote this lovely tune, in my opinion. I thus performed that and gave it my best vocal effort. There was a feeling when we did it, and then Jack put a line in it that had to do with George Harrison," the drummer says in closing. "Wow, we're all here," is how it feels. We are here out of love, even though we are not all here. For an instant, Starr let himself dream, even if the deaths of Harrison and Lennon prevented the Beatles from being in the same room. His fondness for his former bandmates, who were not fortunate enough to live long lives like him and McCartney, is evident in the heartfelt cover. The two remaining members of the Beatles never stop thinking about them, even though they are both no longer with them.